What is up guys, it's Swellheim here, back with another Wrath of the Lich King Classic video. Today we are taking another look at professions in Wrath Classic, and this is part of my Professions Goldmaking Guide mini-series, where I review each profession and their goldmaking potential in Wrath. In this video we will be looking at Inscription, so without further ado, here's my Inscription Goldmaking Guide for Wrath Classic. So this is probably the big profession that you've all been waiting for. I mean, it's a new profession coming in Wrath after all, and it also has a distinct rumor of being the gold-making profession in Wrath, and for good reasons. Inscription has the opportunity to be absolutely massive. It just requires a lot of work and capital, and knowing what to do and when to do it. Inscription is really simple in principle, but gets a little bit more advanced the more you look into it. I feel like I've said that for almost every single profession so far, but it's true though. On the surface of Inscription, you craft glyphs. If you ask anyone out there what you do with Inscription, most people will say you craft glyphs, and you do, and a lot of your gold might actually end up coming from glyphs. On some servers out there, you can make hundreds of gold profit per glyph, as long as you're able to obtain the right glyph at the right time, charging a premium crafting fee for popular glyphs. Acquiring glyphs in Wrath of the Lich King is quite a lengthy and difficult process. First up, you can do a daily craft called the Northrend Inscription Research, which will give you a small batch of random inscription items, as well as a high chance of teaching you a new major glyph recipe. You also have Books of Glyph Masteries, which are world drops and can teach you even more glyphs, and that are uniquely obtained from this book. And this is the first part where having capital comes in. If you can buy up all of these books as soon as possible, then craft all of the glyphs that you learn from them, you can most likely charge a premium crafting fee for those glyphs. You can even take it one step further and keep buying up all of the books of a glyph mastery once you've learned all of your glyphs as well, just to keep monopoly over certain glyphs. It is all a supply versus demand game, and it's actually monopoly with in-game gold, and can lead to some real dirty gold making strategies. If one of your glyphs sell for 100 gold profit, and the book of glyph mastery is selling for 10 gold, I would say it's more than worth it to spend that 100 gold of profit on buying out 10 additional books of glyph mastery just to limit your potential competition and limit the supply chain. Scribes can also make scrolls in Wrath of the Lich King, giving them some constant gold throughout the expansion. These scrolls are used within raiding, especially the strength, agility and spirit scrolls, pretty much every scroll except the stamina and intellect ones. Weapon values and armor values is another way for scribes to make some constant gold throughout the expansion. These volumes are basically enchantment storages, and enchanters can use these volumes to enchant their enchants onto, for them to sell those volumes of enchants on the auction house or trade chat. Putting an enchant onto a volume turns it into an enchantment scroll, and that scroll can be traded. I also want to mention that if you're looking for the best ways to make gold in Wrath Classic, I have made a gold guide with that specific purpose, which contains everything I know about gold making in Wrath of the Lich King. It includes the best gold farms in Wrath, investments that can make you several thousand gold profit, how to make gold with professions, and a bunch more gold making strategies. So if you're looking to make as much gold as possible in Wrath Classic, it is definitely worth checking out that guide, and you can find a link to the guide in the video description, and by using the code Swellheim, you can also get it for 50% off. Now let's talk about the big boy gold within Inscription, the Darkmoon card of the North. So Darkmoon decks and Darkmoon trinkets have been a thing ever since Classic WoW really, and they've always been pretty valuable. The Darkmoon cards have usually been world drops or zone drops, or in some cases even specific boss drops, but in Wrath with Inscription, Darkmoon cards are now crafted with Inscription. So Darkmoon cards of the North. This can be crafted into giving you a random Northrend Darkmoon card, and there's 4 different cards: Nobles, Prisms, Chaos and Undeath. The Prism deck gives you the Darkmoon card Illusion, the Nobles deck gives you the Darkmoon card Greatness, the Chaos deck gives you the Darkmoon card Berserker, and finally the Undeath deck gives you the Darkmoon card Death. Out of all of these, the one you want to focus on is the Darkmoon card Greatness, aka the Nobles deck. That being said though, when when you do the Dark Moon card of the North craft, you get a random card every single time, so it's not like you can decide to only craft nobles. So you will be crafting a bunch of Dark Moon cards, probably even hundreds of them, and this is a literal gold making machine in Wrath of the Lich King. The Dark Moon card greatness is best in slot for many classes out there, and they will pay whatever price you set for it. The best way to make gold here is to start buying Eternal Life as soon or early as possible, as you need 3 Eternal Lives per Dark Moon craft, and as there is 8 different cards in each deck, and there's 4 decks in total, that is 32 different cards, so the chance of you getting the card you want is 1 in 32, or roughly 3%, as you need 3 Eternal Lives per craft, and there is theoretically 32 crafts needed in order to get the full deck that you want. That means you would need almost 100 Eternal Lives to fully craft the deck you want, so you're probably starting to realize that you will need a hefty amount of Eternal Lives. Now, the reason why you want to hoard Eternal Lives early is that these will usually go up in price when the Dark Moon Fair becomes available, so if you're looking to take advantage of this specific gold making opportunity within Inscription, you might want to be prepared and have a decent stock of Eternal Lives before the Dark Moon Fair begins. Crafting these Dark Moon cards are a huge gamble, and the luck versus unluck only really balances itself out if you craft a hefty amount of cards. We're talking more than 1,000 cards here, or at least several hundreds, so printing gold through this method is only really for those of you who have gathered up a quite hefty capital that you are ready to put into it. I would say 20,000 gold or more, but the profit margins are also huge. High risk, high reward, baby. As Inscription is also a new profession, if you're watching this video early enough, there is also some investment potential as well by purchasing herbs from Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor, and even maybe the cheapest herbs from Outland, as pigments milled from these herbs are used in crafting glyphs, and that can be useful to main characters and alts. So basically, Inscription will bring a lot more demand to herbs in general, both herbs native to Northrend and herbs we already have in TBC Classic. Speaking of milling, that is one area of Inscription we haven't covered yet. So basically, scribes can mill a bunch of herbs to find pigments, either common pigments or uncommon pigments, with a lower drop chance, and these pigments are crafted into ink, which is used for various Inscription crafts. This milling mechanism also provides you with a RNG element, as the uncommon pigments have a roughly 20% drop chance. So yeah, Inscription is pretty great. You have constant gold from glyphs and scrolls and enchanting volumes. You have an interesting rush to obtain glyphs, which could make you thousands of gold in pure profit if you're able to maintain a monopoly. And you also have insane crafting profit potential with the Dark Moon card from Northrend. And yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. I thought I would have a lot more to say about Inscription, but honestly, it is a pretty simple profession, but it gets more advanced the more you think about it. Having monopoly over glyphs is incredibly difficult, and maximizing profit from Dark Moon cards is already pretty difficult, plus it requires a lot of gold up front. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you found it helpful and informative. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments down below which professions you think are the best for gold making. And while you're down there, click that subscribe button as well, so you don't miss out on future Wrath content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.